I'm currently on the PTB of Dead by Daylight. I'm going to be going through some of the content that's been announced in the anniversary stream for year 6. And already the content that we're getting in year 7 is so exciting. Already you can see the new killer, Dredge. A very interesting choice in terms of design. I quite like it. It's, composed of like different parts like skulls, hands. It's very interesting. I've already seen like some comments on Twitter about like this isn't very unique. It's got like the same mouth as the Blight. I don't really think that's a thing to say it's not unique. It definitely works in terms of the lore as well, since it's essentially like the boogeyman. And yeah, I'm gonna go through some of its perks real quick. I want to start with Desolation, which I personally find to be like the strongest perk here. Whenever you injure a survivor by any means, like if it's an M1, that kind of stuff, it'll activate for 20 seconds at its highest tier. Whenever a survivor will like fast vault during this, it'll completely break the pallet. This killer is already really strong in terms of anti-loop, being able to like teleport to lockers, also like return to remnants. So obviously with like Sadako, their weakness was definitely like looping, so to see kind of like the opposite approach to this. So this killer is certainly already strong in its own kit, and then it has perks to also make any other killers, I guess, anti-loop better. It's quite a handy perk, this. Darkness Revealed. Whenever you search a locker, all the auras of survivors within 8 meters are revealed for 5 seconds. Now, I think this is a really good perk because it's 30-second cooldown, so it has like a really good like payoff. Now, this is definitely going to be useful, especially for like the Dredge, since their whole abilities is revolves around lockers. I do wonder how this is gonna help other kills. I guess like Huntress when they're getting more axes. So it's quite a handy perk in that regard. You could definitely utilize this one a lot. And then Septic Touch. It's kind of like one of those healing perks where if a survivor's healing, it'll put some status effects on. Now, I think this is quite a handy one, since if a survivor's trying to heal during chase, they'll be hit with blindness and exhaustion, so they can't pull out dead hard, that kind of stuff, or utilize aura abilities. It's quite useful. I probably won't use it myself. I like to use Ghostface, so this obviously is usable in Terror Radius, and Ghostface is kind of like cloak ability, lowers his terror radius, so it's also not good for Wraith for sure, but it's definitely interesting in terms of like its effects it does. This is a universal new perk they've added, Shattered Hope. This is a big game changer, because boon totems is really annoying in this game. So to be able to like permanently destroy it, instead of them just being able to like reignite the boon totem and delay you again, this is very usable. And for it to also reveal the survivors in like a 24-meter radius for 8 seconds is also really good. So it's nice to see that we can have kind of like counterplay the boon meta, and yeah, it's certainly a very good addition. Now to look a little bit through the add-ons. So we've got iridescent wooden plank that will make it so survivors are exposed when your nightfall is about to run out. This is definitely cool. If you have the perfect setup, you can down so many survivors just before your nightfall ends. Again, nightfall, it builds up when you injure survivors, they're hooked, when you use your teleport ability. It also generates faster for each survivor in injured state. And when it's full, create like this darkness effect, survivors' vision is lowered, and there's no terror radius. You can teleport a lot faster, with short cooldown, and then it ends after like a minute. So for you to already have like this kind of like powered up state for a minute, and then have it even more enhanced for like the last 12 seconds, you could definitely, if you have some good setups, do a lot of damage. Now this one is crazy because in chases you can utilize the lockers already really well. There is a thing that I forgot to mention, that survivors can block off the lockers, so it'll delay you a bit if you teleport to a locker, allowing them to gain some distance, right? But this is already still crazy enough because it limits the options for survivors if you exit lockers when you're utilizing it in chasers. Then we have like increase in teleport speed, and then when the generator is powered up, it'll destroy all active locks. Very handy. So if they, finish one generator, um, you're able to utilize all the lockers again. So if you want to teleport to a locker near the generator that they fixed, you're not limited in terms of delays. You can utilize that quickly. And this is the last one I want to talk about Nightfall being active at the start of the trial, and that is automatically triggered when last generator is repaired. It's definitely handy because it allows your Remnant to be a lot more usable. So they can't utilize Dead Hard, any other kind of like adrenaline type ability. Very handy. I feel like this could also combo well with this to get like quick, easy hooks. The survivor Haddie, who you'll probably know if you keep up on like the tomes, is also the survivor in this chapter. They have quite a cool perk around flashlights, inflicting the killer with blindness, and also being able to open an already open chest once per trial to get a basic flashlight. Being able to see survivor scratch marks, and if they get hit in that radius as well, that the killer's aura will be revealed to you. And then this one I think is very interesting in particular because if you cleanse a totem, your generator repair speed is increased by 6%. Now, I assume this also stacks, it's permanent if you don't get hit. So if you're quite good at like avoiding being hit, like you're very good at chasers, being able to escape from the killer, you can probably quickly repair generators. It's quite a cool one, but it's also pretty hard to utilize when if you get hit it deactivates and then you'll have to do it all over again. And since it also takes into account that if you lose a health state by any means universally, that'll deactivate. It's quite a hard perk I'd say to use, but certainly also an interesting one. Other things that they announced in the anniversary stream was like a new UI. I also agree with them that this new UI works so much. Their reasoning behind it was it allows it so the info is more visible, so it's not all the way down here. It's not like jarring. You can also see like the background a lot better, so it's quite cool. You can have a look at the visuals more. But them talking about languages in particular is definitely nice, since obviously with different languages, different amounts of characters, so it might be quite hard to space it out. So for this kind of option they've gone for works a lot more. They've also, it isn't shown here, but instead of having to go into the archives to look at the rift, you'll be able to see how long a rift pass has until it expires. So you can keep up on how long left you have on the rift without having to navigate quite a lot of windows. So it's quite nice. Quality of life change, so we don't have to spend so much time navigating the windows. They've added matchmaking incentives, so if they need more killers to matchmake, they'll get a 50% blood point boost to, incentives to make you play as killer. More blood points, so if you're playing for blood points, you can generate more blood points. Very handy to have. Another really cool thing that they've done is if I go to Survivor, for example, you're able to build multiple loadouts now. Want to play a certain play style, you don't have to spend ages realigning your loadout. You can just use a few that you like. So if you want to go for more of a teamwork based build, you can do that. If you want to do one around chasers, you could do that. It's quite nice for them to do that because it was quite annoying, especially if you have like a lot of perks built up on a character that you would have to spend ages going through them in alphabetical order and then finally build your loadout, right? So that's a quite nice change for them to do. A few other things they're going to be adding, like the matchmaker incentives and the loadouts to make your life a lot more easier, is the ability to queue while also checking other menus. So say if I wanted to queue up as a survivor, I could then also still navigate the store, go go through the archive without it unqueuing me, which would be really nice since sometimes I'll match up with friends and then I want to be like, okay, I need to check this menu, and then I get distracted and then I forget that, well, I didn't ready up, so we've already lost so much time. One other thing they're going to be changing in upcoming tomes is the ability to have one survivor challenge and one killer challenge active, so you won't have to do an annoying back and forth between survivor and killer and then change the challenge and having to navigate through more menus until you do that, which would slow down what you wanted to do, right? You want to go straight into a game, and it's quite nice that they're going to be making this change. There's another change to set they're going to be doing, which is the ability to look at full outfits in the Rift, which is definitely a change I want, since in the previous tome I wanted to have a look at the whole like milkman outfit for the hillbilly, but I couldn't do that. I would have to like click certain pieces and try picture how it would look. Now that's going to be quite a cool change. They said that these changes would be coming out at fall in upcoming archives, so hopefully, since obviously with last year they said that they were going to add these stuff but then not all of it came into like the year. This roadmap is quite loose. It's not like certainty what's going to be added. I'm quite hoping though that these features would be added into the update that they plan for fall without any delay, as it would be quite good quality of life changes. Now I'm going to talk about some live design changes that they've announced that they're going to be making in the future for this year of Dead by Daylight. One in particular which I think is very interesting that the designer do, while also lining up with another announcement they also made during the stream, is that they're going to rework Raccoon City Police Station, which is very cool. I think the map already looks really good, but it is definitely really hard to navigate, so I can't wait to see how like they'll change it so players can navigate this map a lot easier while also keeping the charm of Raccoon City Police Station. Now, why I think this is a convenient timing is that they also announced during the stream the Project W chapter of Resident Evil. Which will probably have like Albert Wesker as like the killer. I'm not sure about the survivor, but there's certainly quite a few that we're looking forward to seeing possibly being added in the chapter. So I do think that this Raccoon City Police Station rework will drop when that chapter drops, but it's very exciting to see like more Resident Evil in Dead by Daylight, and I think Nemesis is one of the most cool designed killers in the game, and then I want to see what else they can do with like another Resident Evil killer. They're going to be making some very vital changes to killer and survivor perks. So they've said that they were going to rework a total of 40 perks.
We'll be releasing a major update that will rework and rebalance roughly 40 killer and survivor perks.
Because they've already did like the statistics of like, you know, players in terms of feedback that in the higher level players, the high level player, the meta perks are just taken over. So people are running the same meta loadouts, and this will definitely be a nice change, that they want to roughly change 40 killer and survivor perks, and they said that they were including meta perks. Now I don't know if this includes all meta perks, but they did mention a few of in the stream, and like barbecue and chili, nurses calling, borrowed time, you know, perks like that, they were brought up. So I am kind of hoping to see like some of these perks get changed. I do personally want barbecue and chili to get a bit of changes. It's been pretty much the same for ages, and it's a very powerful perk because you can use it on literally any killer really. It's a very strong perk. I would like to see what else they can change to it so that it isn't just completely positives, like there might be a bit of a thing to balance it out a bit. They want it to be able also open to people discovering new metas around it, so obviously they've like revealed the loadout system now, so it'll be very interesting now to see like all these different loadouts also be viable instead of just like the same loadout constantly. Another cool system that they're incorporating is that they're changing the prestige system so that it reduces the grind that players have to do and a more quick and easy access to perks. Now obviously, as you know, the current prestige system, we get like bloody versions of an outfit, so this will like work entirely different. You will Instead, when you prestige 1, you will instantly unlock all those perks for the killer at tier 1. So if I use Leatherface and I prestige him, I will instantly unlock like barbecue and chili or any other killer I want to use, which definitely reduces grind. In terms of teachable perks, it's very much different. You can also make it so prestige is no longer capped at 3, so obviously if there's a character you really like, you can show your dedication to that character. And I remember them saying that perk items and add-ons won't be set, but I will double check and put it on screen here if that's true. One last change they're making in terms of the gameplay is how Moris work. They're going to make it more straightforward so that you no longer need to use offerings. Instead, they're going to make it completely different, that it is like a finisher Mori. So when you kill the last survivor, down the last survivor, you will transition into the Mori animation straight away. So it'll close out the game nice and snappy with style. So if you down the last survivor's ghost face, you'll have the nice awesome Mori with like the camera, and then the match is over. It finishes it up right there and then, instead of having to use an offering and have like the certain conditions to then do that. Instead, you will close out the game instead of just hooking the last survivor and then just staring at them flying off into the sky, which is quite a boring way to end it. So I feel like this change is very fun. It does a lot, and I can't wait to see this change in the game. I personally like it. I could probably imagine some players want to be able to have like the power. I've hooked this survivor 2 times. Now I can finish them off with style. They probably still want to feel powerful like that. But I think this change works well. There's not that feeling of being disrespected when you get Mori'd in game because you got hooked twice. Not allowing, your teammates to maybe do like a quick save when you're being carried. There's like that feeling of like, damn, they had the offering, I got it done. Obviously, they deserve to do that when they use the offering, since there's so many better offerings to use, like, making it so the hooks are closer. But I think like with it being the final kill, it is just smooth, it closes off the game perfectly, and I like that change. Now for some really big news. Obviously a lot of fans have been wanting like anime and manga crossovers. I've been quite interested in how they would approach this personally, but now they're finally having like the first one ever, the crossovering with Attack on Titan. This is quite an interesting one to crossover with, especially. They said they're going to be adding 10 new outfits to Killers and Survivors, and they've already released some concept art, which I'll put on the screen right now. Now, I think it's cool. I think the Dwight concept art looks a bit off, but I imagine in-game it's going to look really good. They're not legendary skins, so it's obviously not going to be like changing the character's name at the bottom, like, okay, they're now Eren Yeager, right? No, it's going to just be like, what if these characters were wearing cosplay from the world, which I think works perfectly. They want to make Eren and Dwight because they're both considered the heroes of the the game, the series, that right. The Hanji one for Zarina looks really cool. They've got the eye patch, no glasses, because they don't use glasses, which is cool. Cosplay, they're dressing up as these characters, but they're not becoming those characters completely, and I feel like that works. The Titan skin for the Oni, I'm so excited for that, because the fact that they use crystallization when they're in rage mode is really, really cool. Now, I can't wait to see like the rest of the outfits when it drops. I feel like I'm quite open to them not showing more leaks as time goes on, to be like, well, look at what else we've got going to get people excited. I feel like these 3 concepts that they showed already work so much. I'm excited to see a drop. Can't wait to see like other killers with like Titan style. Yeah, I feel like it's a really cool crossover. It certainly got me excited when I saw it. I laughed at first because it just seemed so crazy to happen, but now that it's settled in, I feel like it's going to be a really cool thing to happen. They've also announced the anniversary events theme, which I think looks really cool. I can't wait to dive into it. It's called the Twisted Masquerade. It's an event that is hosted in the entity's name by someone that is lurking in the shadows. This interests me that when they said this, there's someone lurking in the shadows. I wonder if it's a survivor or if it's a killer. I can't wait to see if they will be like uncovered in the totems. I have no idea if they've already been kind of mentioned in the totems. If you know who it could be, please drop a comment. I'm curious to look into this and learn about it. But yeah, essentially it's going to work like previous events. You know, you'll hunt down cosmetics. You'll collect invitations for 12 characters, with their personality around them. So it's original mask for each of the characters. Also, they're earned randomly, so you might be wanting to get, you know, Dwight's mask, but then you might end up getting the one for the spirit. It's also gonna be an event torn with lore community challenges around it. There'll also be like, you know, seeing the global work and your personal contribution around it, and these will also give like a lot of lore and background around the Twisted Masquerade event. Now this is going to be really cool. That also by the Dredge and Haddie also getting full outfits for the event theme. Moving on to their like video game kind of news, the Dead by Daylight mobile game, which will be in closed beta in a few weeks, had like a kind of trailer going on in this stream. It was kind of funny to look at the visuals of it. Going to introduce like new features like leaderboards. They're going to improve visuals. There's going to be its own control layout, brand new rewards and unique customization. But this is not the one I really want to talk about. I want to talk about the other big kind of like game announcement that they're making, and I don't know why they've actually gone through with this, but they're making a Dead by Daylight dating sim called Hooked on You, a Dead by Daylight dating sim. Now I just find this funny because they showed screenshots of people replied on Twitter, like absolutely thirsty for the characters of Dead by Daylight. So the fact that they took this, these funny comments and decided to actually bring it to life is just so hilarious to me, right? They're gonna be. They said that they want to find more ways to expand the universe of Dead by Daylight, but this is not something that you would actually expect. Now, it's going to be made by the people that made I Love You, Colonel Sanders. So I've never played that, but I've heard that they made like also a really good dating sim or something. They want to. Their plans are to bring a rosy warm light on the dark world of Dead by Daylight, and they did say while it's also going to be having a sense of humor, they want to do respect to the characters, which is nice. Now, I think it's going to be very funny to get like a happy, bright take on, you know, a very grim world such as Dead by Daylight. But yeah, this definitely like confused me. This was not something I expected them to announce. I just find it really funny. But yeah, that's about it for the announcements that they gave on the anniversary stream. Thank you for watching. This has been Kuroto. Until next time.